Hello everyone! So I just came back from a very nice evening and I'm all dolled up, so I thought that I'd make a little video. And I'm going to make a video on the topic that you have been requesting for a very long time, which is my experience of getting tattooed. And I'm going to be answering some questions and touching on the usual topics that you get to, or people want to know when they watch these videos. And so let's get started. So the first question is, why on earth did I get a tattoo? My reason, the main reason, was because I had a sternum piercing for a very long time. A sternum piercing is a surface piercing between your breasts, and I think I had it for about 3 years, and then it started to migrate and reject, and it left a pretty nasty scar. I should have taken it out quicker, but I kept it in too long and it left a scar, and I really didn't feel like covering it up with makeup or doing anything with it. And it was like blue and purple and a little red, and the 2 holes there from the piercings. And I thought it looked ugly, and nothing really helped, so I was like, okay, let's do a cover-up. Normally, because the scar was like, I think this big, normally people would be like, okay, let's do a tattoo about that big. But I've always been one of those people who's like, you know, go big or go home. So I've talked to a lot of people who have gotten tattooed, and they always say that, you know, and the tattoo artists also say that a lot of people who for their first tattoo get a really tiny, I don't know, anything, they usually regret it. They either wish that they had gotten something larger, or the same picture but larger, or, you know, it's kind of a meaningless thing. They got it. They just got it so they could say that, you know, I have a tattoo. So I didn't want that. I wanted something big, and pretty much the style that I got is an underboob tattoo or an underbreast tattoo. And it usually starts like between the boobs or like right under the boobs and stretches out to the rib cage. And this is what I have. So and now actually, even though it's rather big and, you know, proportionate to my body, proportional, I am still like, I kind of want it maybe a little bigger. So even though, again, I got it done rather big, I still kind of want it bigger now. So definitely, I think, you know, if you're thinking about getting a tattoo that's very, very tiny and at a place that you don't really see, and just because you can sort of say that I have a tattoo or get the experience, then maybe you should wait a little bit, and maybe you'll get a design that you really fall in love with or means something to you, and you can get it bigger and in a more noticeable place or whatever, and you'd end up loving it more. But yeah, again, to each their own, no judgment there. So where did I get the tattoo done? I got it done at Bad Pen Pal Tattoo, and it was done by Sten Martin Sinisar. How much did it cost? Now, I guess this also depends on whether you know the artist or whether you're, you know, friends or acquaintances, or you just met him. I did not know the person. I had never met him before. I went to a consultation, and then we had 2 sessions. So the overall cost for the design, keep in mind that I only had like few words to describe what I wanted. I didn't really have a big idea. Definitely, actually, one thing, the style that I wanted wasn't really his original sort of handwriting style, but we worked it out, and it ended up being super cool. So anyway, the cost for me was around 600 to 700 euros with the design and 2 sessions. Both of the sessions were about 4 hours or maybe a little more. So yeah, and altogether I paid like 600, 700. So what was my idea getting the tattoo? When I went to the tattoo artist. I'm so used to saying piercer. When I went to the tattoo artist, I only had like a few notes or a few ideas. I wanted something that had a little bit of a sort of baroque feeling, something that was unique, and that was pretty much it. I mean, I wanted it simple. I didn't want it like too complex. But I didn't really have any ideas. I just knew that I needed the scar covered and I wanted it rather big, and I knew the placement, of course. So we talked, and you know, at first he wasn't really liking some. I took some pictures. They were just really plain baroque, like some drawings and stuff, and he didn't really like it because it wasn't like necessarily his handwriting. He liked to incorporate nature somewhat into his tattoos, and my ideas didn't have nature like in it at all. So he showed me a book, and the book contained some sort of sea creatures and nature stuff and things that had ever lived underwater or had come out of water, like something out of the... It was pretty unordinary. And I looked at it and I got to like pick out and make notes like what I kind of liked. And he was like, okay, I'll do a sketch, I'll send it to you on Friday morning, and on Monday I had the session, you know, like the first session appointment. And so we would have like a few days of buffer time if there was any need to change something. But I was pretty much completely in the dark because I was on vacation and we were not in the same city, so I had like really faulty network connection, and yeah, it was it was a whole ordeal with that. But anyway, we really didn't have any communication at that time. I wrote to him and I called him on Friday evening and he didn't pick up. And I was getting really worried because I'm that type of person that likes to plan way ahead, and especially with a tattoo. And then I called him again on Saturday, and he then took my call and was like, yeah, I made the sketch. I also had some like Wi-Fi problems and whatever, network connection problems. I'm really sorry, I'll send it to you tomorrow, so on Sunday. Keeping in mind on Monday I had the session, so I was really nervous. And on Sunday I was driving back and he called me and he said that, hey, I sent the design to you on Facebook. I was like, okay, I'll look at it. And I opened my phone and I looked at it, and I can't even describe to you what I felt when I saw the design. It was so beautiful. He had incorporated his handwriting and the fact that he liked nature, and then my ideas into the whole design, and it was so beautiful. It was unique. I never had seen anything. I have watched so many like underboob, underbreast tattoos, videos and pictures and ideas and whatever, and it was so unique. I was like so excited. I called him back. I was like, yeah, let's do it. We'll do it tomorrow. I'll come. And I was like so stoked. So he had picked out like the Baroque style would be on my ribcage, and then the lower part would be this type of a crab spider type thingy, in like a shell, and then the upper part would be this sort of pearl clam or something. I'm not even quite sure how to explain this, but I'll show you in a second. And it was amazing. So the meaning behind the tattoo, this particular tattoo really doesn't have any meaning. Again, it was only to cover up the scar. Yeah, but I support people who get tattoos solely because they appreciate the artist, they like the art, and they take their body as a canvas. That's me as well. I get piercings because I think it's an art form and I like the way it looks. So there's no deep meaning, or it doesn't symbolize anything to me. So now I'm going to talk about the process. Like I said, I had 2 sessions. Each session was 4 hours, and I took food, I took drinks, but I really didn't want any of that. I listened to music and I held the person's hand that was with me at that time, and I filmed it. That was the process. Now the pain, this is what everyone asks me, what's the pain like? Well, I can say that I cried at the end of each session for about 30 minutes. However, it wasn't necessarily because it was so painful. Keeping in mind, it was my first tattoo, so this was emotionally extremely draining, and it was, you know, it's a very, very special experience getting your first tattoo. I've only had one tattoo, so I can't really compare whether it's going to be the same during the next ones. But right now, I can only speak about my first tattoo. And yeah, so I cried, and I was so emotionally drained, and I was physically drained. After both sessions, I felt sick, actually. I honestly felt so, like, life was taking out of me. I was still happy that I got it done, of course. I wouldn't change anything, and I would get it done again. But yeah, I was just done. I was just done. So I also had lidocaine spray, and I had painkillers. Lidocaine spray I only had during the second session, because the stencil would sort of melt and get smudged if it would be sprayed onto it. So during the line work, I couldn't really do anything. I relied on my own pain tolerance and painkillers. But during the second session, I had lidocaine spray, like a lot of it, and painkillers. So now I'm going to tell you about the most painful parts. There are a few parts that were sort of okay, or like I didn't really feel anything. That was the lower he got, like the more onto the stomach area he got. That's where I really didn't feel anything. It was actually somewhat ticklish or pleasant, but that's it. And but then there were the areas where when he did them and was tattooing them, I couldn't really breathe. I wanted to scream, I wanted to like move my legs, and I did sometimes. He didn't mess up any lines, but I was like I wanted to shake and shout, because the pain isn't somewhat like I don't know, you break an arm or something, or a bone. It's more like it's so annoying. It's just so annoying. If any of you guys have ever cut yourself or felt like a scalpel or anything cut your flesh, that's what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like. Literally like carving your flesh with a knife, and just like the first layer, but it's so annoying. That's the main word I would use to describe the pain, that it's just annoying. And the parts that were really, really painful, my rib cage, the sort of more to the side he got, the more painful it was. And then the area between my breasts, that was super painful. When he was tattooing my scar, like the actual scar part, that was incredibly painful. Now I don't know whether it was because I have a scar there, or whether it's because it's just that area that's painful. But to me it was awful. But the most painful one, I think, was right under my breast. It's like a little bit is actually like on my breast, and I'll show you. I'll show you my tattoo in a second. And but that was the most painful. And there's like this much room between my nipple and the actual tattoo. But I honestly felt when he was tattooing under my breast, I was like, you're tattooing my nipple. My nipple felt everything. It was an extremely weird sensation, and because it's not like a moment and then it's done, it's continuous and it's annoying, that it was to me it was just pure torture, like just torture. It was awful, and I kept on looking in the camera and then on my body, like how much he's done, how much he's done, how much do we still have to do, and it went so slowly and I was just like, oh my god, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna make it. And now if I think that, you know, he tattooed me for about like 4 hours and we took breaks, but the breaks were like 5 minutes. It's not like I was, I don't know, eating for 30 minutes or something. No, I didn't do anything. I was like taking bathroom breaks for 5 minutes. And that's pretty brutal actually. And 2 sessions like that, that's pretty awesome in my mind. Now, some people say that lines are more painful than the actual shading or coloring, but this was my first tattoo, so and the sessions were like a month apart. But I really can't say that the lines were more painful than the shading. So to me, both were like pretty much equal. So the parts that I meant that were the most painful were these ones here, that's like straight under the boob. This one, and then these ones, and yeah, and then this one I didn't feel at all. And yeah, again, same here. And then everything like here. Those were the most painful parts. These ones were just annoying, but yeah, this, everything under here, and then this area here. This was the last question that I actually wrote that you wanted to know or people usually would ask. Now, if there are any questions that I didn't either answer or you, I don't know, want to know, then leave them in the comments and I will either answer them in the comments or I will answer them in my upcoming Q&A video. And yeah, so I guess I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!